The negative impact of stress can be felt in our body for a really long time. Sometimes it's just a few minutes, but sometimes it can be hours or even days, especially if we're facing one stressor after another and we just hold it. It impacts our sleep. It impacts every part of our life. So it's important to dissipate that energy that's held within us, as well as, of course, to prevent any stressor to begin with. And of course, one of the things that's really interesting to understand is that when we have that stress response, that threat, and the amygdala kicks into high gear and sends out the adrenaline, this cortisol starts flowing, and we have our pupils dilate, our heart starts racing, and we are ready to fight or flight. We're ready to, our muscles are primed and ready to either fight off this predator, this enemy, this threat, or we can run from it, or maybe we're terrified, we just freeze in that moment. But those chemical changes only last less than 2 minutes. They are residually still in your body, but the flow of them is less than 2 minutes. And so therefore, if we stay in that stress response, that's our mind staying there. We are choosing. It may not feel like a choice, but we're staying there by how we are responding. It's really more how we are reacting. We're either confronted or we're angry or we're terrified or something, but we're reacting to that outside external trigger rather than going, that just happened. This is how I feel. And then making it a more appropriate response. And that's the E+R=O formula that I got into on that webinar, and also it's in the handout. But I also said in the webinar that I would share with you a couple of ways to bring the anxiety level down, connect mind and body rather quickly. And that's really what it is. When we're in that stress response, we are in our head. We are disconnected from our body, and we're just in our head, which is why you can't tell yourself or tell somebody else, just calm down. It doesn't work. In fact, it can, infuriate somebody and make it worse. You can't tell the mind from the level of the mind for the mind to calm down when it's really the anxiety and the stress is felt in the body. You need to make this connection. So there's several ways of doing that easily and quickly. And Qigong or yoga, lots of the martial arts, but Qigong is my favorite way to do it. It's a gentle, easy way that anybody, no matter what physical condition you are in, if you have bad knees or something, there's always something that you can do. And one of the quickest ways, well, there's two. I'll start with one and just lead right into the next. But one of them is to just, put your arms, bend your arms at a 90-degree angle. And then depending on where your mind is at, you just start turning. And the idea is if your mind is really racing and you're really stressed, you're going to turn faster. Versus if it's like, I got some mild stress, try to match the level of stress that you're feeling with the speed of which you're turning. And the goal is to slow it down. So if we start out fast, we're going to go slower and slower and slower. And if we start out at a medium speed, again, we just decrease that speed and go slower. It's really easy, and it opens up the spinal column and gets the energy flowing in those nerves, and it opens up our lungs. And it's connecting our mind and body. And after you're doing that and you're slowing down, start noticing your breath, breathing in, and breathe deep into your belly and less into your chest, and just breathe in and breathe out. And you can move your hands also in line with your breath. Your hands come up when you breathe in and out, and the hands go down, and just take it slow. So that's one. And the second one, which you can do one right after the next or each independently, they both work. The other one's really easy too, and it's to bounce and shake. You literally just shake your hands. Now, if you can do this sitting in a chair, or if you have bad knees, it's better to stand up if you can and get your whole body into it. And literally after just a minute or two, it dissipates this anxiety. And you just, again, you can do it more vigorously at first if you're really feeling agitated. And that's one of the things about that stress response. When we get a cortisol flowing, we get that energy because we're designed, this is how our body is built, to fight the predator or the threat, or to run from it. So our muscles are primed and ready to do something. And most of the threats that we face today are more about, people or an email that we see or a phone call. We're not actually doing something as in a physical sense. It's more of a reactionary thing. So we have all this energy physically that we're not dissipating. And it's really important to do that. That's why these exercises, or, these movements helps to get rid of that excess cortisol and helps to return our body back to a normal and healthy state, helps to rest, digest, restore, get back to homeostasis. So that's just a couple of really quick ways, quick tips to help to dissipate that stress response.